Everybody's like, what? And I would, I was ripping his face and just letting him have it. I mean, bruises everywhere. And when we got in the back, I looked at him. He looked at me. It was beautiful. It's art. If I made you believe, brother, then I did my job. I'm Bob at home, but in the ring, I'm supernatural.
Is that right?
Yes.
How long have you been supernatural instead of Bob? I guess it's only when you wrestle, right?
Only when I wrestle. A lot of people ask me, hey, they ask my siblings, hey, is he the same way he is in the ring as he is at home? And of course, I don't take the gimmick home.
In the ring, you're a character.
Right. I'm a heel. Or in Lucha terms, I'm a rudo, a bad guy.
Rudo.
So I'm the guy that everyone boos. So my applause are the boos.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm getting booed or people are trying to puncture my tires outside or throw shit at me, then I'm doing my job.
You're doing a good job.
Yes.
What is it about, like, professional wrestling and Lucha Libre, which is the Mexican form of it, that, people say it's fake?
I believe it's a good question. I've been doing my research. When people say fake, I think a lot of marriages are based on agendas. I think the marriages are fake. I think sometimes when boxing, you're trying to bring in a new kid and a lot of people love him and his merchandise is selling. And I had a lot of people ask me, who do you think is going to win the fight? And I go, well, that guy's on his way out. This guy's on his way in. So it's politics. I think the new kid's going to win. So if the new kid's going to win, that tells me it's fake. It's set up. It's in general. I notice when guys lose their fortunes, the women says, for some reason, I don't love you anymore. Of course you don't love him anymore. Because that wasn't you had an agenda. So when we talk about wrestling, saying, is it fake? The miles are real. The money's real. The bumps are real.
What you guys go through in the ring is amazing.
It's 365 days, 24/7. I mean, you're conditioning yourself. You're getting up there. You're always trying to look the part, and you're always trying to look conditioned. Of course, when new blood comes in, when I came in, I used to go up to the old guys and said, hey, how am I doing? I always went up to them and, as a father figure, how am I doing? And they go, well, you're doing okay. And little did I realize, I must ask that question over and over, how am I doing? You're doing okay. And I got the same response, and I said, man, what am I doing wrong? So then I took a step back and I said, wait a minute. I didn't realize that I'm going to take his place one day. And I'm the new dog. So an alpha is not going to tell the pup, hey, you're coming up. The alpha is always going to tell you, So that's when I stopped asking how I'm doing. And I started hearing it from the fans. So anytime I'm up there and they're popping, they're just grabbing onto me, I'm letting them in. And I walk out and I always hear it. They used to call me the show guy. Hey, you did a lot of show up there, but you didn't do shit. And I go, I thought the name of the game was to get over. Because you're doing all these flips and shit, and they're quiet. I don't hear anything. I mean, I'm in the back warming up, and I'm getting ready. And I go, is there a match going on? But as soon as I get out there, they just start going crazy. And then they gave me a nickname. And I don't like the nickname, but hey, if it's going to get me over.
What's the nickname?
The nickname is an artist in Mexico. Her name is Paquita. She's a short woman. Her hair's blonde. And she's always scoring, and all her songs are about how men did her wrong. So as soon as I come out, instead of playing my music, they play her song. And then instead of calling me natural, they start calling me Paquita, Paquita. And I'm, what the? They're like, what is it? He goes, because your hair's blonde, bro. And you have that stock. I go, man, what a way to go. However, everywhere I went, it was sticking. And everywhere I went, they were popping. So if I did a move on a guy and I was doing really well and I looked for approval, instead of them rooting for me, the DJ guy would play the music. And it was like more insult than anything, like playing her song and then making me feel like I'm not a woman and I'm not this scorned woman. And then I don't look like her, she don't look like me, but it was getting over. So one thing I learned about this business is it's not about what you know also, but it's about you getting over. You know, you don't have to do a lot, but if you have the charisma and you have that persona when you enter a room, or you do a meet and greet and you're doing autographs, oh man, wow, Nat, I saw you on TV and I see you, man, you even look better, than I see you on TV. I go, yeah, they gain about 15 pounds on TV, doggy, But yeah, they get excited. Then I had the high flyers next to me, about 150 pounds, 160 pounds, and they would ask me, are they wrestlers? Oh yeah, of course they are. They're on this side. He goes, but they don't look the part. So I always tell my students, hey man, hit the gym, bro. 'Cause this is a circus. In circus, you have to look above and beyond. You can't look like that, like a backup cook at McDonald's or anything. You can't look like that. You have to have that look where, wow, this guy could really fucking dismember me. So when I started, and I ran into Gil's Garage when I got there, and they told me they do Lucha Libre there. He's the veteran, the head honcho there. I said I was telling you earlier that when I was around 7 years old, they had wrestling in Whittier Boulevard, and my mom took me there. Little did I know that was the same guy I was going to run in years later. So when I arrived to Gil's, and I said, hey, I'm an enthusiast. I want to learn how to do lucha. He looked me up and down. He says, maybe you'll last a week. I go, why? Why would you say? He goes, nah. I have widows coming here all the time thinking they're going to be something, and then they fucking quit. I said, okay. So as soon as I got there, he put me through the test. I'm not going to lie to you. It was murder. He says, if you can't feel it, just powder out. Of course, he also has a rule. If you want water, and you get water, you can't come back into the ring. That's just the way it is. And I go, well, I have to hydrate. He goes, maybe that's how it works out there, but that's not how it works in here. So it took me over 6 to 7 months to master his whole training session to 2 hours straight because it was intense. And I'm this big dude with these little guys, and they have energy for days. So I was getting discouraged. I'm going, man, what do I need to do? And of course, I'm a baby in the business. As I matured, I started to realize you don't have to do them, you just got to do you. So as a baser or a heel, I don't know if you notice when you watch, there's guys that catch them. Mm-hmm. Well, that would be me. So I said, okay, now I have a purpose. So when I would train with the cruiserweights, I said, hey, just jump from and I'll catch you. Okay. Go this way and I'll flip you. All right. Now I found my purpose. Now my regimen, I'm still doing what they're doing, but now I'm different. I'm almost their guardian angel. Because when they fly, this business you got to catch. He don't eat and I don't eat.
You could hit the concrete if you don't.
Yes. So I got to make sure he's okay and I'm okay so we can continue to do the next show over. Now, usually I would not tell you this, but since we have social media, that the rule is you're not supposed to talk about this, they're talking about it every day now. They got a bad guy and a good guy having dinner together, feeding each other food. Come on, it was never heard of it back in the day. Back in the day, you would go in one side of the building, and I have to go the other side of the building. Back in the day, you would be on the phone, and we would talk about it. We could not be seen together. Now today, they're driving together to the show. So, the mystique is gone. And I hate that. My mom still thinks it's real. She goes, why did you let that son of a bitch?
A lot of the audience still thinks it's real.
My mother still thinks it's real. I never broke kayfabe with her. When I would come back all bleedy and, she would see me the next day with, like, what? Who? Where? Didn't you press charges? And where's that guy at now? He went back to his country, and look, you can't even get him to go to be incarcerated for assault and battery. I said, perfect. It's perfect. There was a time that I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the Guerreros. Eddie Guerrero.
Yes.
Chavo Guerrero. Well,
I used to photograph Lucha Libre years ago.
Well, I think it was Chavo Guerrero Sr. I wrestled him, and my mom loves him. So I said, hey, brother, think I can get a picture? He goes, Oh, no problem. So he comes out. He thinks I'm gonna take a picture with him, right? I go, no, 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 Mom. So she's excited. Boom. And I go, and who you rooting for tonight? She goes, I'm sorry, son, but I'm gonna stay neutral on this one. I go, wow. Not even your own flesh and blood are you gonna root for me? I said, it's okay. Again, I know it's work. She still thinks it's real. It was funny. Right after I wrestled him, I would say probably 4 months later, he passed away. So I had the pleasure.
How'd you get started in this?
Again, watching my cousin wrestle in Juarez. Just watching him. I mean, they didn't have a ring. They would be training on carpet. So I'm sitting there watching them. I go, okay, what's the pop? I mean, when are you going to actually wrestle in the ring? And the only time they wrestled in the ring is when they did a show. So I was kind of curious, what about the ropes? Because you guys have no ropes. And he just said sometimes we could use the ring when it's available, or sometimes they don't even have that facilities that what we have. So it's a privilege to have a ring, which is a training ring, because a lot of places where, say in Mexico, they don't have that privilege. So when I'm training with guys here, I always said, hey, don't take it for granted. Always understand that there's people out there that are training in boxing rings that are just trying to, I mean, they're putting ropes together and they're fabricating their own ring just to learn this art. Lucha Libre to me is an art. I think that's what you like. That's what I like. I think a lot of people like it. American wrestling, I believe, is more show, more drama, storyline. You know, if you don't like wrestling, you're going to follow the story. If the story's good enough.
I just like the whole subculture of the costumes and all that.
Yes.
I don't care about the wrestling.
There you go. Beautiful. I like that you said that, because a lot of people will go because their kids love it. So, of course, let's take them. And when you're there, at least you see the pageantry. You see the art form, or you see, you know, it just catches you. And as a photographer, you're going, man, this is going to be great on camera. Mm-hmm. So it has to have that. And when I train students, they like to come, a lot of guys like to train in tennis shoes and shorts. I make it mandatory that they come in tights and boots, wrestling boots, because you have to become accustomed to what you're going to start wrestling in. You play golf, you don't play golf in Air Jordans, do you? You play golf in golfing shoes. And I try to tell them that, you know, like, it's for what you're doing. It's going to complement. And they always ask me why, and I always say, well, the day you put your boots on and go up there, you're not going to be comfortable because you never wrestled in boots. So let's start from the get. As soon as you come in, put that gear on and understand the etiquette that we're doing here. So my class, as is right now, it's mandatory that they wear the gear, the full blown in, or
You're not Mexican.
I'm half Mexican.
You're half Mexican?
And half Irish.
But you're operating in a very Mexican subculture there.
I'm operating in, yes, I would say that when I got in there and I'd sit down, and I'm glad you brought that up, I'd be considered a half-breed.
Yeah.
A mutt, would you say that?
Well, you're
half and half of your mutt, so you're not a full.
Compared to all the other guys you're
Right.
fighting against, you're white, basically, compared to them.
I'm too white for Lucha Libre, and I'm too Mexican for the American.
Mm.
So I was in between, the rock and a hard place. And I remember when I came in one day, and, you know, I'm a fucking big dude. I know what, you don't need to tell me, you know, I know what I am. But I try to keep myself humble, because I know sometimes people get the wrong impression. I'm not trying to dismember anybody. I'm trying to get popularity and get a good following. So when I walk in, I make sure I shake everyone's hand and I say, how are you? And try to, you know, cordial, whatever, and sit down and put my boots on. But I used to have a lot of guys, you know, go tell me, hey, sir, you know, they would try to talk to me in English. If you want to dress, there's a dressing room over there. And I go, where's the dressing room? And he goes, oh, it's in the ladies' room. And I said, the ladies' room? And he goes, yeah. So, you know, I'm trying to digest what he said, and then I got it. I said, all right, I'm not one of you. I'm one of me. Little did he know that we were going to lock up that night. And I'm glad you brought this up. A lot of them want to see what you're made out of. You know, okay, he's jacked, but they say no. Well, the day we went up there, and I don't want to mention names, but he got educated that You know, just because I'm being cool and I'm being humble, I'm not a doormat, and I educated them that night. And they got educated in the back too. I was also a roadie, driving the wrestlers. I used to drive them for 3 hours up north, not getting booked. They tell me to bring my stuff because it says, they always tell me a plumber always brings his tools.
You're based in LA.
I'm based in LA. I got called
A lot of the wrestlers will come from Mexico to wrestle here.
Mexico. We had some special guest, Ultimate Dragon. I believe.
Some of these guys are prima donnas.
Yes. Thank you. Cause
I've photographed most of the big ones.
yeah, a lot of them won't drive with you. Like if we're driving together to go to a show, to get a van, and everyone's driving, he wants to drive individually. If we get a room, he wants to be located in a different hotel. It's crazy, brother. It's crazy. And when I went up north and I was doing the roadie thing, I would sit there and they said, you know, you're not going to work. And I said, yeah, I'm just earning my stripes, so to speak. So I'm sitting there and the guy goes, hey, I might need you tonight. I go, well, yeah, but what match? He goes, main event, don't fuck this up. I go, wow, well, the pressure, I said. I go, who am I wrestling? And nobody wanted to wrestle this guy in the back. They said he's a little bit off. Well, most of the wrestlers are. And they pointed out to him. I go, I'm going to wrestle him. And the guys would look at me and go, yeah, you're going to wrestle this guy. So I went over to a couple of my comrades, the ones I drive, and I said, what's the deal? I go, oh, he likes to fucking lay it in. I mean, he doesn't pull no punches. I go, so just that heads up, I told you that. All right, cool. So we go in the ring. We just start beating the shit out of each other. This is full contact, right? Boom, boom, boom. And he tells me, ya vamos a la casa. And he's telling me, let's take this shit home. I said, all right. So boom, pops me up, slams me, goes to the top. I mean, he comes down full blown. Pow, grabs me by my throat, and he says, don't fucking move. 1, 2, 3. Boom. I go out, I do my job. Everyone's happy. The crowd's popping. They want me to come back. Now here's the problem. Remember, he's a bully back there. He goes, I love it so much. I'm going to make you guys the new tag team. They're going, now I got to deal with Natural and this fucking guy. So yeah, when it came time to lock up, and very popular wrestlers got educated. Because I would feed off of what he was giving me, give it to them. Boom, boom. See, yeah, like a teacher. Yes, teacher, what more would you like me to do? Throw him into the chairs. All right, good. Rip his fucking mask. Okay. Just tell me.
You guys do crazy stuff.
Oh, we were
You're hitting each other with the folding chairs. You're throwing each other off the ring.
Oh, I remember blood was squirting right out of my head, and my sibling almost threw up because it was just shooting like a funnel. And I just told her, it's all work. Don't worry, everything's gonna be okay. We did that. I started getting that recognition where, hey, I'm a solid wrestler. I catch people, and by the way, if you want to go strong style, you can go strong style. So keep it cool with this guy. So with that being said, I got popular. I even got adopted from a tag team, and I don't know if I can use their name in your interview.
Sure.
And I don't know if they're gonna complain about that too, because they do a lot of commercials and stuff. So, I was tagging as a third member with Los Chivos, and we're all dressed in gold, and I was the third one, and I was like the guy that sets them up, and then pops would come down off the top, so boom, just like the anchor, yeah, boom. So they would do all the flying while I do all the setting up, like I knew my thing. So kind of like when you're married to someone, kind of marriage meaning, if you're grabbing the camera, I'm grabbing the easel. You don't need to tell me anymore, because I know where we're at. So I started picking up from what we needed to do. So as soon as I see my boy go up to the top, boom, I'm already setting him up. You don't have to come and tell me, come on, no. Boom. Pah. Then roll his ass out. Set this guy up. Spear, boom. He comes off with a knee, boom. Like clockwork, just a fine oil machine. And he goes, man, you got it. I go, hey, man, I love this shit. I have to get it. And that's when I started to realize what separated me from these people and these people. Don't get me wrong, you can wear a nice costume. You can look the part doing a lot of moonsaults. But if you don't have charisma, if you can't talk, if you can't get the crowd going, sometimes, I don't know if you notice, singers, when they're performing in front of people, they sing to themselves. And then the educated ones, they involve the fans. They'll take the mic and they'll say, and they'll let them finish the verse. And now he let that whole bass come in and be part of that. And a lot of these wrestlers, I see too many sequences that I could call in my sleep. I said, change it up a little. See that woman there? I go, yeah, let her in. See that man there? Let him in. You know, I would get in the ring, I would see a couple right in front of me, and I would tell them, I go, you know, she was fake blonde, of course. I said, hey, Blondie, tonight this one's dedicated to you, because that loser right next to you, he don't do shit for you. She goes, you know. I go, yes, I know. And I got her. And everywhere I went, I'd find her ass right there in front going, I'm here for you. I told these guys, you got to bring them in.
It's entertainment.
Well, they want to come in. Let them in.
At the end of the day, it's entertainment, though.
At the end of the day, you have to understand the difference between the guy that's all juiced up in the back. I mean, fuck, they're juiced up and they're coming in full blown. I remember I had one of my students with me, Gavilan de Oro, and I go, come on in, dude. And these big dudes coming in from Mexico, they're not 6'2", 6'3", juiced. And I told him, hey, bro, I know you like to go strong. He goes, yeah, I like to. He goes, yeah, I like to go strong, but whatever you want to do tonight. I go, okay. So I was telling him, boom, boom, we're going to do this, do that, and then we're going to take it home. He goes, that's fine. As I'm walking away, I get all the locals. You know a guy, you know what he likes to do? He's going to kill you tonight. And wow. I go, dude, I asked him, what's the point of doing this if you're always going to walk in fear? You know, this is why we train. This is why we condition ourselves to prepare ourselves for anything and anything. So we went up there. It was his first debut in the States. He loved it. I think half the people, when I was done, they asked me, did you guys go at it in the back? Because that's how believable it was.
That's how convincing it was.
It was so convincing that my wife says, I never want to see when you guys go at it again. You know, because we're going at it tooth and nail. You know, I acted like he murdered one of my family members. And everybody's like, what? And I was ripping his face and just letting him have it. I mean, bruises everywhere. And when we got in the back, I looked at him. He looked at me. It was beautiful. It's art. At the end of the day, if I made you believe, brother, then I did my job. You know? If you shit your pants and you watch it, say, oh, I don't have to do this shit. That's bullshit. And I did my job.
The crowd really gets into it.
The crowd gets into it, and you have to know your audience. I've always told the people that I train, a comedian knows exactly his audience, so he knows what to say as far as a joke on what area he's in. So know your area, know your audience, and then you perform. Sometimes you're performing in front of kids, and it's a family show. So watch the F-bombs, watch the chair shots. It's a family show. We're trying to push maybe a school, maybe a church. Just keep it nice and calm. But when you're dealing with an adult show, where it's at late at night, you're serving beer, it's balls to the wall.
You ever been hurt?
I've had the back of this left arm ripped, and it literally tricep hung over the elbow. I thought I had to get it surgically reattached, but thank God that wasn't the case. I trained like that, and it mended. Because I know guys that have torn this, and it atrophied it where it just, the arm got smaller and smaller because he never reattached the muscle. There's no circulation going there. So I thank God I didn't have that problem. I tore in this bicep from a greenhorn. Kid should have never been jumping. He put his knees up. Charlie horsed me, rip. Still finished the match. Okay. I tore two hamstrings in my back. I've tore ab muscles. Number of concussions. I couldn't drive for a while because I couldn't see because the blurriness. They was because you have a concussion, you have multiple concussions, you shouldn't be driving. I continue. I still train to this day. I never stopped. I don't think I ever will. I think the day I do stop is the day I'm going to get old. And that's you start. You don't get up off the chair. You don't do shit.
How old are you now?
Right now, I'm pushing 53, brother.
You look great.
Well, it's not easy, bro. And I see these guys in Mexico, 62, still wrestling.
No, Mascaras was like, shit. He was probably close to 70 when he.
And I don't understand, but I understand.
He was the best.
Mean Mascaras, and I don't know if you know this, and I admire this guy because he was not really received well in his own backyard, but they received him so well in Japan. Wow, it's all over the world. But if I mention Mean Mascaras, we're training with other comrades, I don't like that guy. Whether you like him or you don't like him, you're just gonna have to accept it. The guy did movies. He was a big fan of bodybuilding. So when you saw him, he always had that physique. Because what I understood is he was more of a fanatic for bodybuilding, but they kept convincing him, man, come on, you got the look. And then he got into it. And the rest is history. It really paid a lot off to put his inspiration for wanting to get into bodybuilding, into wrestling. And everybody used to say, man, I don't think he was a good wrestler, but I watched a lot of interviews, and I remember he said, if I go to Africa, I'm going to wrestle the African champion. If I go to Germany, I'm going to wrestle the German champion. Too many times, and I totally got what he said, is when, say, for instance, you and I are touring, okay, we know each other for years, and you know what I like, and I know what you like. But he says, no, that's not wrestling. It's when you wrestle the unknown. You never met him, and it's going to be your first time getting in the ring. So I admire Mean Mascaras for that because he would be locking up for the first time. You understand? And you don't know this guy from, it's an estranged individual. And I admire that because today, and the popular wrestling that you see on TV, they're traveling together. They know each other, They're going over their notes, but Mean Mascaras is actually, hey, I don't know what this guy's going to do. And I remember the Destroyer, him and the Destroyer used to have this feud, and he goes, I never gave him anything, and he never gave me anything. And that's saying a lot, meaning they had to fight for each move. And I admire that too, because that's authentic, brother. So I take my hat off to Mil. There's nothing bad I can say about Mil, because if I were to say, oh, he's just this guy that got over because the way he looked, no. He earned it. And if I could pick at, if I could pick at his brain, I would love it. Just to get that extra. I think you could still be a student of the game even though you've been doing it for a long time. The day you say I know it all is the day you never learn.
Do you have any regrets in your life?
I regret I'm not 6 feet. And then a lot of people were telling me, you're not tall enough. I go, but if I get jacked enough, I think I'm good. I'm 5'7.5". I measure, people always ask me, how big are your arms? I really don't do that. But I just said I'm big enough to get through the door. And that was another thing, that I got a lot of push because of the way I looked. I like the way you look, bro. And, okay, cool, I hope I don't let you down. Because I am, doing my study. But sometimes I think they push me prematurely. But I just listened. When the maestros told me, hey, get over here. Hey, set him up there. Hey, get back out of the ring. Hey, get back in the ring. Hey, cut that guy off. And I was just a listener. So every time I go in the back, they go, what about this guy? What about this kid natural? I go, he's a good listener. He's a good listener. And I go, that's all we need to know. As long as I fucking listen, and I tell my kid, because he started wrestling, I tell my students, they started wrestling, just be a good fucking listener, man. Don't talk over him. Let him tell you how it is. Because you'll have your moment where the roles are going to be reversed. Where you're telling the kid, pay attention. Step out of it. That's what we're going to do tonight.
What was your childhood like? You had your dad?
Dad, Irish, Marine, fought in the Korean War, loved to collect firearms. He didn't say much. He just had to look at you. So when he was home, because he owned his own tractor, so he used to take off from New York to Mississippi, all states. He'd do all state travel. And sometimes he'd be home maybe 2 weeks, and sometimes he'd be away a month. So when Pops was home, he really didn't, I guess you could say he really didn't raise his voice, didn't have to. But I do know that once he said one thing and I kept on saying, well, just for instance, I need you to do the yard. Okay, can't find the rake. He goes, you can't find it? Or are you just too lazy? And I said, well, I'll try again. Went back, says, I can't find it. He goes, and he would just say, make it very clear. He goes, if I have to get up and I find it, what do you think is going to happen after that? And then, of course, that would correct me. I'd open my eyes more and I'd end up finding something. So not using, profanity, not raising his voice, he just says, you know what's going to happen, right? And believe it or not, I took that and I used it for my kids. It's common sense. Like, I'm not going to get upset, but if I have to get up off this chair and now you got my full attention, we're going to have problems. I said, wow. So then I used that. Now every time if somebody gets foggy when we're doing shows and I said, hey, do you want my full attention? Because right now you only got 50% of it. Well, I don't know what that means. That means you need to sit down, brother, and relax. We still got about 2 hours. I still have to do my regimen. I have to eat my granola bar, tell some jokes over here, and then start lacing up. And when I'm done, then we'll talk. See, I don't understand that. We could talk right now, and 2 hours later, you're going to go back to me going, so I have a question. Uh-huh. And he doesn't remember anything he just talked about. That's why you got to listen. Go sit down and enjoy yourself. Enjoy the journey, brother. I always tell everybody, we're here, we're having a good time, we're going to do a show, relax. A WWE superstar, again, and we're not going to mention any names, he was bugging me 3 times that night saying, are we going to go over it? Are we going to go? I go, we're a main event. Relax. Oh, it's just that I don't want to mess things up. Calm down.
Lots of egos in this.
Yeah, it's just, look, and I'll be honest with you. I'm not a plan A guy. I'm a plan B. Let's face it. If you're traveling and you're going to go do something, you have to be ready for plan B. Am I correct? You got to make sure, hey, what if they don't have connections? What are you going to do now? That's a good good question. You have to improvise. You have to adapt. You have to do improv. That's what wrestling is. I sat down one day, 6-man tag. They're sitting there talking over. I'm way over here. They're way over there. Well, hey, Natural, you going to be part of this? I go, Let me know when we're going up because it was about 2 hours. Finally, I get up and I walk over there and go, well, why did you make us wait? I go, okay, go. He tells me one story. Before you know it, it's 5 different endings. But this is why I sat down. They're narcissistic. You know why I try to humble myself? Because I read the Word of God, and that's what keeps me humble. And I think that's what makes me a better person. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but it's just common sense. If so many people are talking at one time, how can I get involved? The only thing I need to know is where I need to be. And I got it. You guys do you. And that was the problem. Confusion was not one of my fine points, was to understand what they're doing, what was the purpose of doing it, but understanding we're not going up until 2 hours. It's not fresh enough. It's got to be right when they're going to call us up. Okay, guys, we got about, 5 minutes. Let's talk. It's got to stay fresh. Now we're up there. Come on, bro, we just talked about it. But if we talk about it 2 hours later, do you remember? I have to get in there. Boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3. Why did I go? Just don't worry about it. Just concentrate on the third now, dog. Just concentrate on the third. There's been matches where I've done 45-minute one fall. 45 minutes. I go, we still got 2 falls. You understand that, right? It's because that's what I'm talking about, brother. You guys are killing me. And I'm not saying I'm not mistake-free. If someone comes and cuts me off, hey, thank you very much. If I can't do it, hey, cover, bro. So I understand. And I think I want to make it home. I think these guys want to make it home to their families. I think they want to do another show next week. And that's another thing. About being in wrestling, you don't really want to tell the promoter that you're injured, because then that reflects on you getting another booking. So if I have my patella's not working well and I'm taping it, I'm not going to tell them, because I want to get booked. And then every time a new promotion comes, what's really sad is they always say, well, I never really seen you work. So every time you're up there, you got to prove yourself again. And I think when you're in different levels like school, or you don't return back to elementary, you don't go back to high school, and when you graduate at college, you don't repeat it unless you're a professor. So why would I have to continue to prove myself that I'm a good worker? My reputation should be out there already. You should know already. Ask him. Ask this guy.
Supernatural, what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
That everything is temporary. It's biblical. 2 Corinthians 4:19 says, what is visible is temporary, and what is invisible is eternal. So I know this is just a blink of an eye, brother. You know, I don't invest my inheritance here. I know there's going to be another life that I'm going to live, and that's with the Lord, and it's going to be a lot more than I could ever imagine. So I don't look so much to invest here. I don't look so much to get accolades here where people are praising me and giving me glory, because I'm just a dude, just like you're just a dude. You know, I always tell my son when we would perform, you know, and big guys from big promotions, oh, I want to take a picture with him. Oh, I want to talk to that guy. I go, but you're a wrestler. I go, you can't do that. You can't do that. He's just a man. Now, if you're a fan, I get it, but you can't go up to him and take pictures. So that's what I've learned, that I'm just a man. I try to do the best I can. If I can contribute to this business and leave my legacy where, hey, man, he's doing a natural move, or hey, he's moving like Natural's footwork, then I did my job, because now I'm still living here, so to speak, through other people by taking my style. Because I don't know if you know, but I do have a style.
Yes, you do.
So that's what I want to leave, if anything. Integrity, respecting what you do, discipline, and just continuing to pass it on to the next guy. I'm pretty sure you might have someone that wants you to mentor them, and you pass on that knowledge too. The one thing about me and Mascaras, as funny as we brought him up, I never seen a son that was going to carry on the name. Isn't that crazy? So when Mila goes, that's it, baby. Wow. Because you see Blue Demon has a son, Raul de Jalisco Jr. You always have these juniors and sons, but never once I've ever, hey, that's Mila. Is he passing it on, or he's just going to take that with him?
All right. Supernatural, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Wish you lots of luck out there. Don't get hurt.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.